me how the audio is doing. Welcome. I hope you can hear me all right. Now I'm trying to lapel mic instead of hopefully it'll work better. Welcome everybody. So you give me some, tell me how my audio sounds with this lapel mic. Is the background noise too loud? Can you hear me clearly? Just go ahead and type in the chat what the audio quality is. If I'm cutting out, if there's any issues hearing me. Oh, there's a train going through over here. Yeah, so if somebody could just type in the chat, tell me how my audio quality is. Can you hear me clearly? Is there too much background noise, anything like that? I'd sure appreciate it. Hey, Julianne, good to see you. Blessings. How's my audio? Can you hear me clearly? Whether the background noise was too loud or whether my voice was coming through plainly. Yeah, so if everybody can hear me, just go ahead and let me know. Or if you can't hear me, let me know. Oh, hard to read from downstairs. Oh, I hope it's not too much background noise. And I'm thinking I'm in this tractor, 300 horsepower diesel engine up here roaring back practically 2 feet in front of me. So I guess I'm going to have a little bit of background noise. Oh, good, good. As long as you can hear me. I was afraid the sound of the diesel engine had drowned out my voice. It's supposed to be a noise canceling microphone. I definitely am more comfortable with the lapel mic than I am wearing headphones because it's surprising to me how much I depend on my ears listening to the sound of the engine to know how it's pulling and how it's performing. And so I didn't like having the headphones on because it muffles the sound of the engine. Kind of like putting cotton in your ears, So. Gotta watch and time these turns just right, or I end up running over a fence. That wouldn't be good for anybody, especially since it's my fence. I'd have to fix it. I hope everybody's doing well today. Flare up. They're kind of pretty, but I'm back from vacation, have been for a couple days now, trying to get things back on the regular schedule, hoping to be able to come on sometime tonight, about my usual time. And you can kind of see some of the yellow flowers back there on the edge of the field. Don't know what kind of flowers they are. Well, there's some black-eyed Susans, but there's another kind of yellow flower in here that's smaller too. And then some other weeds got little bitty flowers on it. All I know is it's competition for the crops I want to plant, so work it under. This field was drained sorghum last year. It's still got all the crop residue from that, all the stalks and stuff, because all we take is the seed. Combine comes through, takes the top off, takes the seed, and then kicks everything else back out the back of the machine and spreads it back on the field. So all we're taking out of here at harvest time is seed. When you're doing a grain crop like wheat, soybeans, sunflowers, any of those kind of things, even corn, all you're taking is the seed. And you put the rest back on the field. And have some plant material composting all the time is actually good for the soil. Now is already pulling hard. Get over there a little bit further. It usually pulls harder. It's kind of, it wasn't so tragic, it'd actually be kind of amusing. People think farmers are out here putting on huge amounts of fertilizer and things like that. Couldn't be anything further from the truth. We don't want to put on any more than we have to grow a crop that's profitable. That fertilizer costs a lot of money, and I don't want to have to buy any more fertilizer than absolutely necessary. So I take soil tests. I take soil samples out of the field, send them into a lab, get it analyzed so I know how much nitrogen, potassium, phosphorus, zinc, sulfur, and even what the pH of the soil is, so I know exactly what I need to put on to raise what I need to raise. And I don't want to put on anything that costs more money. Cars are thin enough, and so we're not out here trying to spend money putting huge quantities of chemicals and fertilizer on. We don't use any more than absolutely necessary, because the more we use, the less profitable we are. That stuff all is really expensive. And so it's actually a fallacy and just a flat out lie that we're out here just putting on huge amounts of chemical and fertilizer. No, we don't use any more than absolutely necessary because it's so expensive. See, I'm gonna stop here and see what you said. I've got my phone flipped up here to the visor, and the print's small enough I can't read it from back here in the operator's seat. Oh yeah, I'm out here farming right now. Getting the field ready. Here, let me take this down off the visor. Okay, See, here's the before side. That's what the field looks like before I work it. Now, go over here and look out the other window. See, so that's, I hope you can see that all right. That side's already worked. That side isn't worked yet. So I go ahead and I work it, work all those weeds in, chop them up, mix them in with the soil. And then I'll call in the fertilizer truck. I've already done a soil test, so I know exactly how much fertilizer to put on. So I don't put on any extra because I don't want to spend the money for extra. I want to put on just the right amount to get a profitable yield. And then after the fertilizer truck comes in, I'll come out here with a different implement behind the tractor, and I'll mix that fertilizer in with the dirt and smooth it out, level the soil out as I mix in the fertilizer. And then I'll be ready to come out here and plant some seed. Let's seed the ground. So yeah, we keep coming up with new technology, new implements, new tools they keep coming out with, so we can get more done with fewer times over the field, which saves time and fuel. So we're not trying to burn extra diesel fuel, we're trying to burn less fuel. We have to be more efficient to stay in business. So yeah, if we're just out here using huge amounts of diesel fuel and huge amounts of chemicals, we'll put ourselves out of business. We won't be here anymore. Somebody else will have to come in and take our place who will do the job more efficiently. So if I'm going to stay in business, I have to be efficient. And that's why I take soil samples, send it into the lab, get it tested, find out exactly what's in the soil. So I put on exactly the right amount of fertilizer and not any extra. I don't want excess fertilizer out here because it costs too much money. And it's not going to really benefit me. So I have to be efficient. You put on exactly what you need and not any extra. In the same way with chemical, we don't want to spray chemical out here if we don't have to. If we can get by without spraying insecticide, we won't spray it because it costs money. And the more money I spend on the crop, the less money I'm going to make on the crop a lot of times, because it just cuts into the bottom line. And it's just bad business. So farming is a business and a lifestyle. Hey, blessing Swift, good to see you. So yeah, farmers are not out here putting on huge quantities of fertilizer and huge quantities of insecticides and stuff like that. No, because that stuff is expensive, and the more we spend doing that, the more it cuts into our bottom line, the less profitable we are, and we could actually end up putting ourselves out of business by spending too much on the crop. So efficiency is the key. Put on an exact right amount, not any extra. Only what's necessary and no more. And and if you put on too much chemical and hurt the land, it's going to hurt my yield for years to come. I could end up putting myself out of business doing something stupid like that. So there's no way I'm going to put any excess chemicals out here, any excess fertilizer, or any of that. I'm not going to spend a bunch of extra money using diesel fuel I don't need. If I can find a way to do it more efficiently, using less fuel, I'm going to do it. It's just good business. So yeah, we're out here, we're trying to be more efficient. So those people that get on the internet claiming that farmers are out here putting on huge quantities of fertilizer and huge quantities of chemical, burning huge quantities of fuel, that's the opposite of what we're trying to do out here. If we were doing what those idiots on the internet claim we're doing, we'd be putting ourselves out of business. We'd go broke. And besides that, we have to live on this land. We're not going to poison it because we have to live here. We have to make our living from this land, so we're not going to do anything to harm it. We're looking for ways to make the soil healthier, to make it more productive naturally. So, trying to work with nature, not against it. So, but that's your agriculture lesson for the day. If anybody's got a prayer request, go ahead and type that in the chat before I go. I'll go ahead and pray for you now. Or I'm planning on being on sometime tonight taking prayer requests again. So if anybody course, I'm on now. If you got a prayer request now, go ahead and type it in. Excuse me while I clip this back up here to the visor. Now you can kind of see the machine I'm running back here. Pick that up out of the ground. Put it back down. It's got round blades on it with deep shanks, curved shanks in between. And it goes in under the ground and lifts the soil up, breaks the compaction. See, doing this instead of old days, they used to take a plow and roll the soil under, bury everything. But we don't do that anymore, really. Only thing I've been seeing a plow used for mainly was for, building up terraces for erosion control, just for maintenance on terraces. And that's about it. I haven't seen anybody plow an entire field for I don't know how many years. It takes a lot of fuel, and then, like I said, it buries all your crop residue, leaves the soil bare. We just don't like doing that. With this machine, as you can see, it's leaving a portion of the plant material on the surface to help protect the soil. It buries most of it, but it leaves enough on the surface to protect the soil surface from erosion, from wind and water erosion. So, it's just better practices. We went through a 7-year drought out here in this part of the country where for a period of time there we were actually drier than they were in the 1930s during the Dust Bowl. And yet you didn't see any reports of any big dust storms. The farmland wasn't blowing away. It's because we have better farming practices now than they had back then. We actually actively try to protect the soil, try to prevent erosion. And so it's just a whole different ball game. It's all about being more efficient and working with the environment instead of trying to, overpower the environment. We try to work with it. But I don't see any prayer requests in the chat yet, so I guess I'm going to go ahead and end this broadcast. It was nice to know I can broadcast this way if I need to. So, and yeah, if everything works out, I'm planning on being back on tonight from my home office, so definitely be quieter and take some prayer requests then. Hope everybody has a great day. Stay safe. Be kind to one another. And I hope to see you all in the next broadcast.